Lee decided on a counteroffensive to make life intolerable for them. They could have killed him off. The race riots were a cataclysmic experience for everyone in Singapore. People who lived together peacefully for generations were suddenly at each other's throats. What Mr. Lee Kuan Yew and Dr. Goh and the other leaders of that time concluded, supported by the analysis of the British diplomats, you go and check the records, they concluded that Malaysian leaders of that time were using race riots as an instrument of intimidation. And Dr. Goh had this to say in his oral history. And it's actually a very, very crucial passage, so I'll read it out. It was only after the riots when we were cornered, really cornered, because the Malaysian government could, at will, switch on this riot and get people killed, that Lee decided on a counteroffensive to make life intolerable for them. I think it was Lee's policy that if we were to get good terms out of them, either total separation or a new working agreement, they must find existing arrangements intolerable. And he knew that it had to be done at great risk to himself, but there was no other way because we were at the receiving end all the time. They were not in control of the police. Security was a federal responsibility. So the only way in which they could secure Singapore and protect Singapore as best as possible against being the victims of what in effect was racial intimidation, you turn on and off this riot switch, was to organize politically up and down the peninsula and across Sabah and Sarawak. And he knew that this was a very dangerous strategy because they could have killed him off.
What was the worst that could have happened?
Well, Mr. Lee, in his oral history, says somebody could have arranged for an accident. You drive up. In those days, the trunk roads, you didn't have expressways. And there were always huge, big lorries carrying timber. And then you arrange for the timber to be released and your car is smashed. Nobody believed that someone, like the Tunku would have ordered something like this. But the Tunku was not the person behind the race riots. It happened despite the Tunku. He wasn't in control of all the elements, certainly not in control of the extremists.